So with that, members, I would like to move House File 975, and that is going to the Judiciary Committee. Representative Moeller, welcome back to the Transportation Committee, and tell us all about House File 974. I'm bad, you guys, I've always been bad with numbers. Mr. Mitchell, my math teacher, will tell you that. 975.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. So some of you who were here last session will remember this bill. This is a bill that was brought to me by Legal Aid, and it has to do with people getting stuff out of their cars. The stuff out of car bills 2.0 is what we call this. But for many Minnesotans who are homeless and destitute and living in their cars, if their car gets towed, it can be more than an inconvenience. It can mean a deprivation of everything that they own. So in 2008, this legislature recognized the interest of both the financially vulnerable Minnesotans and the towing business and struck a compromise that established in law that those who are homeless or otherwise destitute to get their stuff out of their towed cars, even if they don't have the ability to pay for the towing and storage fees. So that was the Stuff in Cars 1.0 bill back in 2008. But this bill is before you this year because what's been happening is some of those, and in spite of the law, some of those indigent owners have been denied access to those items out of their car, things such as medicine and medical equipment. And so creating that right in 2008 without a remedy really didn't solve this problem. And so this bill seeks to solve that problem, and it requires that a tow lot operator who refuses to return an eligible car owner's belongings after the owner presents the documentation, that they have to give that owner a reason why they're refusing compliance. And to ensure that there is a remedy to enforce the right, the bill gives the aggrieved vehicle owner the right to seek an injunction to compel compliance, and if their belongings have been destroyed, to seek compensation. So the bill before you is a compromise bill. We're very pleased that we were able to reach a resolution with the Towing Association. I'm unaware of any opposition to your bill, and you do have a letter in your packet from the Towing Association, and I do have a testifier, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Ron Elwood with Legal Aid. And first, I'd like to thank Representative Moeller so much for carrying this bill for several years and finally, hopefully, get it over the finish line. And I would like to thank the chair for co-authoring and really like to thank Representative Petersburg and Mr. Marble for their help for 2 years in making the case and really having such compassion in their hearts for this bill and for what we're trying to do. I'd also like to thank the Minnesota Professional Towing Association, as Representative Moeller said, with whom we worked and to arrive at the language before you today. And I'd also like to thank Faegre Drinker, and in particular Attorney Hannah Anderson, who couldn't be here today. But Legal Aid has consulted with and co-counseled with Faegre Drinker on a number of cases that one of the reasons we're here today. And I'd just like to illustrate briefly, just talk about one case that really illustrates exactly why we're here. A client of Ms. Anderson's came to her, sought to retrieve her belongings from her vehicle after she was in an accident. She was eligible under the 2008 law. But she was rebuffed. And Ms. Anderson delivered the required documentation from Legal Aid proving she was eligible to get her stuff out of her car. Not only wasn't she able to get her stuff out of the car, but then the period that is allowable to keep the car expired, and they actually tossed the car and all of her stuff. She lost all of her belongings that were in that car. So Legal Aid receives calls all the time across the state from Minnesotans who have encountered similar violations of that law. This bill is needed, and I urge your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Elwood. Are there any questions of either the testifier or the author or committee discussion? Okay, seeing none. Is there anyone else in the audience that wants to testify either in support or opposition to House File 975? Wonderful. Chair Moeller, any closing comments before we vote?
I just want to thank you again, Mr. Chair and members, Representative Petersburg also. It's been a pleasure to work on this bill with you and ask for your support. Thank you.
So thank you very much. Well, members, with that, I will renew my motion that House File 975 be re-referred to the Judiciary, Finance, and Civil Law Committee. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, the motion prevails. Thank you, Chair
Thank you.
Moeller. Thank you, Mr. Elwood.